All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Well, I got a burr under my saddle.
We talk, you listen.
Somebody that's going to take an innocent life is not mentally insane?
You know them.
Time to nut up or shut up.
You love to hate them.
It's the Denton and Sasquatch Show.
Can I bring my AR-15 next time?
Sure.
Yes.
This place is half talk show, half weird daycare. I love it.
You can't handle the truth.
Hello and welcome once again to the Denton and Sasquatch Show, coming to you from Alabama and California. My name is Sasquatch. I'm here in California. His name is Denton. He is in Alabama. How are you tonight, sir?
I am fine, sir. And yes, my name is Denton. I do live in Alabama, but none of that matters tonight. We have a guest tonight. This man is from South Africa. His name's Jason Bartlett. He lives in Texas. And this crazy man is going to walk from Austin, Texas to Washington, D.C. Now, I won't walk across the hall for a candy bar, okay? But this guy's going to walk from Austin to D.C. to raise awareness of the atrocity that's going on in South Africa. Jason, how are you?
Very well, thanks yourselves, gentlemen, and thank you for having me, Sash and Denton.
It is our pleasure. Now, look here. It's been over 20 years since apartheid. Everything is peaches and cream, unicorn piss, and chiclets, and everybody's living together in harmony, correct?
Well, that's according to Meghan Markle, who came there and saw that there was unity, but that's just an absolute atrocious lie and a cover-up, because it is anarchy in South Africa. Things have fallen off the wall, and it's reached a boiling point.
Now, have you had any personal experience with, I've read, I was preparing for the show, and as a matter of fact, not even that, I've read about farmers being slaughtered, crazy things that you don't usually, you don't hear in the mainstream media. You have to dig for this stuff. Have you had any personal, anything in your life that's happened?
Well, it's going to be very difficult for anybody in the world to walk up to a white South African and say, hey, has anything happened to you? And they will automatically have a story. I can start off in 2011. I have been involved in an attempted farm attack. In 2018, my cousin was strangled with fish nylon, shot in the back of the head, and then burnt with the grill afterwards. And then they said the white bastard is dead, let's go get the rest of the family. And the little 8 and 10-year-old daughter, they hit with a crowbar through the face, and as well as my cousin's wife, they hit her through the crowbar of the face. And that's just my one story. My girlfriend's grandmother was raped to death, and the grandfather was beaten and tortured for 3 hours. And then they also said, finally, now this white bastard is in a pool of blood of his own, we can leave. And they left without stealing anything. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. And on Sunday, actually, this very Sunday, a dear friend, family friend of ours was shot while he was trying to sell sheep, and his wife was beaten to a pulp and tied up.
Wow.
Yeah.
But tell us that these are isolated incidents.
No, these are not isolated incidents. This is basically like the government is going out there and inciting this and promoting this, and these are happening on a daily basis. There's been over 400 attacks this year already, and several murders, almost 50 murders already. It's happening for the last 20 years on average. If you had to take it up, there are 2 attacks every day, and there are 1 farm murders every day for the last 20 years. It's ridiculous. It's anarchy, and it's a slow war. They are busy thinning out and culling up people, and they are doing it in horrendous ways. They even torture the animals just to intimidate the farmers. And it's reached the boiling point, and we need an immediate action plan. Like, I'm talking immediate, and that's why I'm doing this walk. It's not for myself, it's for my people.
Now, what's the name of the president of South Africa?
His name is Cyril Ramaphosa, and he's just one of the big culprits that just supports the EFF, which is the so-called economic freedom fighters. Now, the ANC is a complete communist party. It's not a democratic party. And the EFF will come up and they will sing, we're going to call for the slaughtering of white people. And if they don't do it now, they might do it later. And the president just says nothing. He does nothing to protect the people. He just denies to talk about it.
I remember not too long ago, before President Ramaphosa was President Ramaphosa, he was calling for white people to be boiled alive.
Yeah, he actually stated, the president, listen to this. This is 2019, November, right? And this is our president that runs South Africa. And people acted like it's honky-dory, like this Prince Harry and Meghan Markle come over there and they try to think that it's honky-dory. It is anarchy, where your president comes up and he says that we are going to boil the white people in a pot so that they don't even feel it getting warm, and eventually they boil to death.
Wow, you guys think Trump is bad.
Exactly. It's like, count your blessings, people.
Well, we'll count blessings until the Democrats get in control, but that's later on we can discuss that, what's going to happen here. Let's say you're in, what's the capital of South Africa?
It's got 3 capitals, so it's complicated. It's like Pretoria, Bloemfontein, and Cape Town. So,
okay, let's just take Cape Town.
Okay.
Okay, that's on the coast.
Yeah.
You know, surfer boys like Sasquatch, they would know about that place.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's say you're white,
Okay.
and you're walking down the middle of Cape Town. How safe are you?
Okay, so Long Street, I've got a little couple of stories myself. In Cape Town, Long Street, I was held at gunpoint by someone under the age of 18 and at an ATM. I was also held at knife point in Long Street during the day, not at night, because it is a party place, but I was there in the day, and that happened in 3 separate days, 3 days apart, I mean. And my girlfriend was hijacked attempted hijack, smashed her window out and tried to grab her. Luckily, someone else saw her. That happened right next to her, and she didn't get too hurt, but traumatized, of course. And that happened within 2 blocks while we were staying there for 8 months. Oh, and I was actually almost stabbed as well. So 2 guys packed me, and they cut a part of my body on my side and ripped my jacket. So that's 4 incidents in 8 months. So, yeah, that's honky-dory and beautiful Cape Town for you.
Let me ask you this, and this may sound like a stupid question, but, I mean, is it so segregated that there's just a black area and a white area, or is there some integration together? Or, I mean, how's that kind of work?
Yes, there is some integration. I mean, there's lots of beautiful white people and beautiful black people in South Africa that do get along. But the problem is the government is that the part that is hateful and, barbaric towards the whites is increasing tremendously because there's no support. And then when the president, like the previous president, gets up and illustrates him shooting a machine gun and saying, "Oh, bring the farmer, shoot him down with a machine gun." You understand? When the presidents are singing stuff like that, and when they're singing one farmer, one bullet, one settler, one bullet, kiss the farmer, which means kill the farmer, when they're singing that, they do it out of passion, and that's inciting violence and thriving people and in supporting people to go and kill. So the people that are not hateful are just being swept under the rug because there's more of the people that are violent are getting the media and they're going out and doing the killings.
Well, and I think it's probably like a mob mentality too. Once you kind of start seeing that, I mean, even people that may not want to do it just kind of join in. I mean, there's a psychology to it.
Exactly, it does build up, and where there wasn't someone going to go do a farm attack, they realize, well, they're getting no coverage, they're not getting into any trouble, nobody's looking for them, nobody's hunting them, so they might as well go just carry on and do it. Because it's very well going to a farm and then they say, okay, they disguise it. The police go, they say, oh, this was a theft. It wasn't a theft. Why would you torture and rape someone of 87 years old and 10 people rape an 87-year-old? That's not normal. That's not theft. And cutting their heads off and giving them scars and burning them and pouring boiling water down their throats and raping the little girls in front of their parents and the little boys in front of their parents. That's not normal. That's not theft.
Why aren't the farmers, or why aren't anybody defending themselves? Why don't they have Well, in the case of farmers, I wouldn't bother with a pistol. It'd be a daggum rifle, but why aren't they armed?
You see, they are armed, and this is one of the big debates, is even though they are armed, some of these farmers, and ones that I know personally, are very well-trained people, and they're good hunters, and they're very good shots. But when you just all of a sudden wake up and there's 8 people in your house, there's not much you can do, because the government also limits you to how much you can own. Because I, for example, applied for one of the guns that I wanted to get, and I'm not allowed to get it because they just give you no reason. They don't think you need a gun, but you're living in the most dangerous country in the world. I mean, we're in the top 5 in the world for the murder capitals I mean, come on. And everybody thinks it's this rainbow nation. That's the biggest lie there is.
Now, what you said, limited, what are you limited to as far as weapons?
There's such a pathetic process that you have to go through to get a gun. I mean, it's completely not like America at all. But the problem is the people that do have the guns, the guys that are coming are heavily armed. A lot of them are heavily armed, so these attacks are planned, and they're meticulously planned. And these people it's not your normal average Joe black guy that's working or living near the farm that's coming to attack you. These are people that are being sent and coming to come and attack, and it's government incited.
Okay, so it's like 1 or 2 farm members, family members that are being overwhelmed.
Yes, what they will do is you've got some of the farm workers, let's say there's 3, 4, 5 farm workers on a farm, they go and get intimidated tremendously, and if they get threatened, to be necklaced, which is a tire thrown around their necks and lit with petrol and burned to death in public, then you're probably going to give up the guy you work for's information. So because they threaten you, and if they will do that to their own people, what will they not do to us?
I'd like to ask. Go ahead, Sass.
No, well, I was just going to say, you said that the case of the woman that was raped, the 87-year-old woman, and they come and say, "Oh, well, it's just a theft." Okay, let's say the scenario is they come to attack a farm and say the white farmer kills the attackers. Do the authorities then come and press charges against the farmer?
Yes. So I know a gentleman, I won't say his name, but I know him personally. They came there, and he's a big gentleman, and he caught 3 of them in the house, and they bit him all over, bit pieces. They like literally bit pieces of meat out of him and almost bit some of his fingers off, and he shot the one, and he got arrested.
Wow.
What was the outcome of that?
The outcome, he got released again, but he's in so much trouble still and has to go to court because he's now a murderer, even though they broke into his house and tried to rape his wife and kill him, So you're not allowed to defend yourself. Your government denies anything's happening to you, and they actually, since 2007, stopped recording the farm murders. And it's not just farm murders, they're killing people in their houses too, everywhere. I mean, the way my parents live, if you guys both had to see that, you would laugh. You would be like, you're joking. That's a prison. 8-foot palisade fences with electric gates and electrified fences, and about 30 locks. I think it's 36 locks they have to lock every night before they go to bed.
How old are your parents?
They are in their 60s now.
In the 60s?
Yeah.
Okay, now, white people are being targeted.
Yes. They definitely are.
But generally speaking, how's the crime? How's the murder rate there?
It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. If you go look what the murder rate is compared to other countries, it is ridiculous. There's 59 people killed every day, and they're only saying that only 51% of crimes are reported. So there's every 3 minutes a woman is raped in South Africa. And you know how many, the infant rape, because they rape babies under the age of 24 months old, because under the age of 2, because then they believe that they're relieved of their sins.
So say that again.
Yes. So many of the cultures, right, They believe that if you rape a baby that's 2 years old or younger, you are relieved of all your sicknesses and sins.
Wow.
So there's a tremendous amount of animal bestiality as well as infant rape. And you don't see anybody that's, in Hollywood saying anything about women's rights, or Meghan Markle, this meant to be some hotshot princess, come there and say anything about women's rights who get raped every 3 minutes in South Africa. Nothing gets said about that. The ambassador, who is a handbag creator, Lana Marks is her name, has been there for like 2 weeks, and she said nothing about the farm murders. And she said nothing about the crime rate, just how unified it is. So why are they covering this up? Do they just going to continue to lie to the world so that they can say, okay, we did not make a mistake, communism is bad, we should not have supported that. We should have ended apartheid, but we should have done something different. Not just give it over to people and say, here we go do apartheid and just do it worse and just be brutal and just murder. And you know what? We as America will give you $510 million every year, and you can just fuel that genocide towards those people.
So what happens to that money, the money that the states send to South Africa? Who does what with it?
So there is nothing in South Africa that makes any profit. That's I think it's more than $510 million that America sent last year. But that money gets there and it just gets dispersed, and they have parties where they spend millions of rands in South African currency on alcohol, and they all drive the best Mercedeses. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Who are they? When you say that, you're talking about the ANC members?
Oh, the ANC members and all their wives and their wives' children. Just everybody has a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW, and the best of the best. And it's just stupid things. For example, this is what will happen to the money. So there's a little city, a little town that I come from, and the north of that town, there is only gravel roads in that one town, right, in the north part, and they go and order like 30 very, very low vehicles, almost like racing vehicles, those VW GT3s, and they can't drive on the gravel road, so they just lie there and they just disintegrate, and people throw the windows out and steal the tires and stuff. So the money just gets wasted on absolutely nothing. Then there's a water shortage in South Africa. Nothing gets prepared or fixed. You know what they say? Their excuses are for the water. They say the whites built the dams too big, so they don't fill up.
They built the dams too big so they won't fill up?
Yes, that's what the last president says, yes.
So he doesn't see the logic to that?
No, it's the white people's fault.
Oh, okay. Whatever it takes. Yeah, I understand. I'd like to back up real quick because this is incredible, disgusting. You said some cultures believe that if they rape a baby under 24 months, their sins will be absolved.
Yeah, you heard me correctly.
Okay, so some cultures.
Yeah.
How many cultures are there in South Africa? And when you say cultures, kind of paint us a picture. Are we talking about like in the Tarzan movies where they have spears? Or are we talking about, what are we talking about here?
So there's several cultures. There's 11 national languages, and Afrikaans and English is also one. And you've got your English culture and your South African culture. Then you've got the mix between that. You've got Khoisan, you've got Xhosa, you've got Zulu, and you've got Sotho, and you've got Tswana, and more. So some of them are more subdued, and some of them more violent. Like the Xhosas and the Zulus are just barbaric. What they do is just barbaric, and it's scary. Like, for example, I was in a place called East London, and we're driving, and they'll just take a tire and throw it over a little 14, 15-year-old's neck, and just light the tire in front of everyone, in front of little kids and everything, and dance around him, and the police will dance with. And they just, who cares, because he stole something from their own people. So that's what they treat them like. That's the tribalism that you're talking about.
Incredible. Wow, here in the States, we have no clue. We honestly don't. Now, I'd like to switch gears a little bit here and talk about the white folks there, Boers, Afrikaners, what do you call them?
Yes, so you get obviously it's a different accent, and so you get English and you get Afrikaans. That's what you would call them. The boer. It means your farmer, but he's not just a farmer. He's also, a lot of them live in the towns. A lot of them work on farms. A lot of them work in agriculture. Some of them are car salesmen. But lots of people have got boer blood in them. But there is a big difference between English and the Afrikaner. For example, have got a lot of Afrikaner in me, but I run as English. But I can speak both languages, and I understand both cultures because I grew up English when I was young, and then when I grew up, I was mostly in Afrikaans area. So I grew up to know the cultures very well of the English and Afrikaans.
Okay. Now, for both of them, any of them, the government. The government is communist, but the government's very big. Okay, so it employs a whole lot of people. It's kind of like our government. We spend so much money and we get nothing, and it's going to run us on the ground. It sounds like it's the same thing that's happened in South Africa. The government's totally corrupt and squanders money and doesn't care about the people. How many white people are in the government?
Well, in the government, the white people in the government now, I don't know the numbers of that. It's a handful that are really doing a hard job to fight for us and to try keep it that it's not complete mass murder and anarchy and keep it from falling apart. But I can tell you that it's basically impossible for a new white person to get a job in the actual country, the country's government now. I mean, there's literally tests but things that you go online and it says there, click here if you're African or Sotho or Xhosa, and if you say Caucasian, it says, sorry, you cannot apply for this position. So, yeah,
we wouldn't tolerate that here. That goes against equal opportunity.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, the South African Airways now, which is completely bankrupt and going to probably close down or get sold off. In 2009, I had an interview with them, and I got told to F off because I'm white.
You couldn't even fly in your own country?
No, I had to go speak to someone. It wasn't a formal sit down with them. I had a informal sit down with them, and the guy came in there and told me to F off because I'm white. So you can't go and fly as a pilot. You can't own a KFC if you're white. You can't go work at certain places if you're white. It's ridiculous. And then all they say is everything is the white person's fault. And it's like, come on, man.
If it be this way, if it be this way, how many white people in Africa are highly skilled, highly trained, highly competent, but they're out of work?
There is a massive brain drain in South Africa because so many of the white people have fled. Immigration has increased unbelievably, and there are people living on the streets and in shacks. We call them squatter camps. These white people, and they are engineers. They are architects. I know of I've seen two doctors that they've stated they were doctors. They are, people that know about agriculture, very well educated people, mechanics and everything, but they can't get jobs because there is no work, and on top of that, they can't work because they're white as well, unless they own a business. But if you own a business, you have to be involved in the the BEE, where you have to give 51% of your business to a black person, and he doesn't even have to work.
Okay, so in that case, you have a very big part of the white population on welfare.
No, of course not. No, white people aren't allowed to have welfare. They can't get the welfare that they need. They're not entitled to that because of their skin color.
So skin color is making all the difference. You can't get a job because of your skin color. If you start a business, you got to give 51% of your profit to a business partner that doesn't even have anything to do with it. You can't be a part of the government. Is there an upside to any of this? Where's an upside?
To be honest, there is no upside. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because they've gone and they've demonized and dehumanized the white South African farmer and white South African. They've made us to feel shame where we shouldn't feel shame. I've done nothing. I was born in 1987. I don't have anything to do with anything that happened. And I've watched the country deteriorate. And I get hated for what I've not done, and my parents didn't do, and my grandparents didn't do, but I get hated just specifically for my color.
Sass, how much time we got?
About 10 more minutes.
Okay, good. You're about to speak.
Yeah, I was going to say, this, I guess this would be called a form of reparations, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, and to the extreme, but I mean, because we have a lot of people, in America kind of screaming out, oh, we need reparations for slavery. But this to me, what I'm kind of trying to point out is this is sort of where that goes.
Yeah, example, the government, ANC is wanting to take away the white farmers' farms without any compensation, correct?
Yes, so they want to take the farms away, but let's say Denton and Sash, you both own a farm, right? And you owe $1 million on that farm still, so you're still in debt. So they're saying they will take that farm, but you still got to pay that debt off. But they take the farm and they give you nothing for it.
So how are you supposed to pay that debt if you can't get a job?
You have a huge debt, but you have no way to support yourself to pay for that debt.
Yes, but they think you're white, so you can just do it. You get money out of, you don't work, you just have the money.
Well, yeah, there's that whole white tree thing where, we have trees in our backyards with money on it.
Yeah. No,
don't tell people. Don't tell people that.
Yeah. So I cut mine down. I don't know where mine is.
Okay.
Yep.
South Africa, farmland, I'm sure it feeds more than just South Africa because there are farms there. There was a time, there was a place called Rhodesia, and it was a breadbasket of Africa. And at the end of the day, it became Zimbabwe. The government took the farms from the whites, ran them off, killed them, didn't matter, got them off the farms, and then using nepotism, friendship, and everything, people who had no clue about farming were given those farms, and now Zimbabwe is starving to death. Their currency is worth absolutely nothing, and because it went down the crapper, other countries in Africa are suffering because they don't get the food that Rhodesia supplied. Is South Africa going to turn into another Zimbabwe?
Well, at the rate it's going now, I'm going to have to say yes, because Zimbabwe and Rhodesia is a very sensitive subject, because we as a family would have inherited a lot of farmland there if our family didn't lose it. So it's not the first time my family's been chased out of one country. And yes, it's going to go there, because what happens when you bite the hand that feeds you and you kill the hand and you're torturing them and murdering them and slaughtering them, and they stop feeding you, and there's an influx of people, but so many people want to get out, and there's not going to be a generation of farmers below that, because they've got a passion. Even though in the midst of this turmoil, these farmers are trying to teach the black people that are on their farm to farm the land, because that's how much they love it, and they feed the people that are really killing them. And it's just a horrible situation that a farmer has to go and be murdered, and brutally murdered, the problem is they're fighting for land, and they're saying this is a land claim, but it's not even their land, and everything was bought fairly, and there were deals done, and it's absolute anarchy, man. It is going to be another Zimbabwe if America doesn't help us out and sort something out there. It's going to be another Zimbabwe, and they're going to do it to themselves, and then they're going to still blame us.
Okay, about the land being bought. So would it be, a long time ago, people came there and bought land from black people that lived there? Am I correct on that?
Yes, I don't know of all places, but look, most of the places, like my personal family, our land has been bought and bartered and traded, and over the years and years of time. I mean, my first family member that came there was in 1820, and they've never left.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been there a long time. So the grounds were bought from people, and they were bartered from people, and we've rented from blacks, we've rented from whites, and the land that we buy, we've got title deeds. It belongs to us.
But somebody got paid for that land, and now they're saying, well, it just belongs to them because it does.
Yes, and then they just want to take it back, and then they just want it to be theirs. They don't disperse it out. Like the government owns thousands and thousands of farms, and they don't give it to their own people like they promised.
I know a lot of people are probably sitting here listening to this going, well, why don't you just leave then? And you did mention that a lot of people have fled, but how easy or hard is it to flee from South Africa?
Okay, so it is next to impossible. If you haven't got, a lot of money, you can't go to Australia because you divide your money by 3. And if you come by 10, if you come to America, you divide your money by 15. But that's not just the problem. The problem is that there's no doors that are open for us. There's no doors. There's one farming visa now in Australia that we want to have opened and done the same in America, so we can come and help and increase the backbone and follow the morals and the Constitution of America and support them and feed them. But there's nothing. It's incredibly difficult. We can't even just go to Namibia and Botswana if we want. We have to apply. We can't go to England. They've forsaken their people. And the Dutch in Netherlands, they've forsaken their people. Russia's actually opened the door for several South African farmers. But, there's no doors open for us, my friends. There's really nothing open. That's why I'm doing this dramatic walk. I understand it's a huge thing, but what else is there? There's nothing. There's nothing. There's no hope. They've bankrupt and crippled the whole country.
So, you're going to walk from Austin, Texas to Washington, D.C. You're going to start this in January.
Yes.
And by the way, if you will, we'd like to have you call in on Sundays to tell us about your progress.
Okay.
When you get to D.C., okay, let's say that you get to D.C. and Donald Trump is there at the end of the road to meet you. What do you want Donald Trump? What do you want D.C. to do for South Africa?
You see, I think he's the correct person to be in charge because he's bold and he's not scared of negativity coming his way in order to stop him of doing the right thing. So when I get there, I would ask for an immediate action plan or protection plan so we can get the people that need to get out into America, but also the people that want to stay should be able to stay there. And some sort of mechanism has to be created, or people have to be sent in to stop that violence, because it is a slow war. Let's just put it simply, it's a slow war, and it's anarchy there, and it's not right what's going on, and it needs to be put to an end.
I think first off, we could stop sending money over there until things get straightened out.
Yes, I think that's a very good way. Let's stop sending the money over there incredibly quickly.
Well, America's not going to send troops there. They're not going to do anything unilaterally. And no. I don't think the United Nations is going to do anything because the United Nations does not care.
No, they don't care. They clearly don't care. We've written letters to them. I've written letters to them. You just don't get any response, nothing. They just ignore this situation flat because it doesn't fit their agenda.
Exactly. And it would be nice that America would open up its doors to the South Africans so that they can come here, instead of opening the doors to cultures from the Middle East that don't appreciate what we've got, and as a matter of fact, come here to turn us into them. And I think that would be a good talking point, and I think that Donald Trump would appreciate that point.
Yeah, I actually think he would be open to listen to that, because I'm nobody special. I'm just a normal South African that's just had too much. And I'm petrified to go back to that country, and for valid reason. I've been traumatized. I've been traumatized. I've been through too much, and my family's been through too much, and it's got to end now. And I think he's bold enough to do it, and I believe that he will do the right thing, because it is anarchy that's going on there, and it's a genocide that is happening against the white people and the white South Africans.
We're going to have to wrap this up soon, but just go out there with me. Every white South African leaves next month, December, and comes to America. From January, what do you think will happen, and how long do you think it'll take? When all the whites are out, you can't blame them anymore. You have total control of the land. None of those evil people are there to mess up your world. What will happen in South Africa?
I think the famine will just bring it to an absolute boiling point, and they'll have wars between each other. Because remember, there's a lot of cultures there that hate each other. The Zulus and the Xhosas hate each other. So when famine strikes in because there's no farmers to feed them, then there's going to be chaos. Now, don't get me wrong. In Africa, a lot of the people are fed by small, tiny little self-sufficient farms. I get that. But these people have not become like that. They're not self-sufficient farmers anymore. The guys are out there barbaric, and they want money, and they want it for free, and they want it now, and they're willing to kill for it. So they will be exactly like every other country. They will end up like any other communists. I mean, these people's heroes, they celebrate people like Stalin. They celebrate people like Robert Mugabe and Rhodesia. So, yeah, there wouldn't be a good hope for them, I don't believe.
Well, this has been a very, very uplifting, happy podcast. And that was total sarcasm. Jason, do you have a website, Twitter account, anything? How can we assist you along your crazy walk?
So I've got good news. I've got a great team behind me. They are busy working on my website at the moment. But for now, because Facebook doesn't allow me to do anything and they block my name completely, I've just got a Twitter account, and it's called @BuffaloBartlett. That's where you can just come and hear the voices of the people. No, I don't. I do a lot of little talks on there, and I post my interviews on there and so on. But a lot of the people you can speak to via my Twitter, and you can just see the outcry of the South Africans and the way they need help, man.
Okay.
You know what?
Because I'm trained in America and Alabama. Spell Buffalo.
Spell Buffalo. It is Buffalo, and then my last name is Bartlett. So it's Buffalo Bartlett, Bartlett.
So that's that. Buffalo Bartlett. Why'd you pick the word buffalo?
It's just because if you take a look at the South Africans, first of all, if you get rid of the buffalo, you don't have the big five anymore. Okay, so if you get rid of the buffalo, that's fine, but buffalo can be separated, but they're still tough, and if you put them all together, they're powerful and they're majestic. And that's just we are thick-skinned people, we are tough people, we are hard-working people, just like a buffalo.
Well, now, for any of our listeners that didn't catch how to spell buffalo, you can contact us at dentonandsasshow@gmail.com, or you can go to prepperforums.net, where we hang out and discuss inane things like politics, sometimes preparing for the end of times. And Jason, this has been amazing. This has been eye-opening. This has been absolutely horrible.
Hey, before we go, I got another question for Jason.
Oh, we got plenty of time, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I just, because you mentioned earlier that the UN doesn't help because it's not part of the agenda, and we were talking earlier before the show about like Hollywood not speaking up because it's not part of the agenda. Do you foresee any kind of pushback as you're doing your walk? Are you like protesters against you or anything like that?
I've seen a lot of negativity from several black people in South Africa. I've received a lot of threats on Twitter. Not as of yet in the United States, but I am expecting it, yes, because I've seen what happens. These people like Antifa, and there's a lot of negativity out there. And as soon as they notice that my walk's getting attention, like it is now, it's really growing and it's getting a lot of attention. I do think there will be throwback, but I'm not scared of them. I'm a Christian, I have faith, and I know I'm doing the right thing, so I believe that the people of the United States are really going to reach out, because I've had such a massive reach out already from the beautiful people in the United States that want to help and will support me.
No, you're not walking alone, are you?
I don't know. That depends on the people of the United States. I'm currently just walking on with the clothes on my back, and we'll see what happens. I have no plans in those terms.
Well, I may be skateboarding with them, so...
Yeah, I'll give you my route, and where you find me, come on over and come and skateboard with me. That will be tremendous. I'll take that awesomely.
All right, awesome. We'll longboard together.
It could be snowboarding depending where you come. I've heard it's going to be cold.
No, I got a snowboard. We can do
crazy.
that too.
Yeah, true. I've ordered my shoes, so stuff's getting real, and I'm training every morning now, and every evening.
Well,
so.
you know what? Also, a lot of people, especially with things like Twitter and Facebook, talk the talk, but you are definitely walking the walk, which is very commendable, because a lot of people say, "Oh, we need to do this, we need to do that," and then they don't do anything. And I think it's pretty awesome that you're actually getting out there and doing something.
Thanks,
now,
man.
just a reminder for everybody, it's at Buffalo. That's Buffalo for those of us in Alabama. Bartlett, Bartlett. Go. If you don't have Twitter, start you up a Twitter account and go to @Buffalo Bartlett.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate it. And so do my
Jason,
people.
this has been a great thing. We appreciate it. We're just happy to help get information out. And do not be a stranger. We want you to call in, get you some Skype on your phone, give us a call, let us know if you're even alive, because what are you, crazy, walking from Austin to D.C.? But just let us know what's going on.
Okay, I definitely will do that. I will definitely call in, and I'll keep you guys updated.
Well, we do appreciate it. Sash, you got another question or anything?
No, just thanks for your time. And, I like most Americans, I'm pretty dumb on this. And I'm glad you came on, because it enlightened me. And hopefully this is going to enlighten some more people, so you get the word out and maybe change things.
Oh, perfect, man. I appreciate that, Sash. Really, I do. And like every little bit helps. So every ear that hears, man, you just hear that we're real people, and we don't want to be denied, man. We come in peace, and we just want to unite under one nation, under God, and make it great.
Well, Sass,
Keep it great.
We've just heard from a man who comes from a place where we can't even fathom the slaughter and the rape and the brutality.
No, we complain if our Starbucks isn't right.
Yes. And that's another thing. These people there they have to be strong to survive. Here, we complain about not enough latte in a cup.
Yep.
Okay, and we can't even figure out, are we a male, female, or kumquat? All right, so it seems to me that we are surely doomed. So what do we do?
Drink up and go follow Jason at Buffalo.Bartlett?
It's at Buffalo Bartlett.
There you go. And go follow Jason at Buffalo Bartlett.
Okay, look here, folks. We hope you had a great time. We surely enjoyed talking to Jason. And go to that Twitter account there. Learn more, because it is crazy. And we will talk to you next week. Good night.